Ready?
Eddie,
Heck, welcome, Twins at Law.
welcome, twin-in-law.
Welcome back, Twin at Law. What's been going on?
Man, you know, I heard you.
I did have COVID, man. I thought I was gonna die. I did, man.
See, I told you should have got an immunization.
I got them all.
What?
I got all of them, boosted and everything. And I was talking to my friend. She's a doctor. She's like, "You're lucky.
Wow.
You'd have been really sick." I'm like,
You got
"Okay,
a friend who's a doctor?
I do. In fact, who's not dead? Remember, Dow died.
Yeah. Well, it's early still.
Oh.
We can
She just dies.
got that Biden shit. And then I hear your AC went out too. We're
AC
in the
went
middle
out?
of a heat wave here.
AC went out.
Yeah.
I think I've shown my toughness though. I had COVID and no AC, so it was tough. Man.
Tough as they come. You know, it's tough though. Pete Arredondo.
Pete Arredondo. That's
Pete
a good
Arredondo
segue.
is the toughest former chief of police that anyone's ever seen.
But you know what? Why I feel bad for the dude is
What?
he wasn't getting a lot of chicks anyway. But now he's lost the bravery thing. I'm brave. It's like you're not.
The
You're
funniest
not.
thing about Pete is the willingness of the cops to roll out a lie. And I mean, this goes back to our last episode. We're talking about the federal government's 99% conviction rate.
Crack policing is
which
why.
absolutely proves that the fix is in their setups. This guy is the chief of police. He had to overcome things. He's Hispanic. He's overweight. He's bald. Those generally aren't good things.
No, well, unfortunately,
I'm hoping we can turn that
right,
a little
right.
bit. This guy has made it from getting hired to captain or whatever to the chief of police of a major city.
Is that a big city?
It's
I
big
saw
enough
this-
they had 400 cops
Yeah.
or 200 cops.
And he made like $400,000 a
Oh,
year.
he was killing it.
I'm like, this dude,
Yeah.
this motherfucker.
This motherfucker. Well, it always goes back to the fallacy that, you know, these officers are risking their lives to save our children. And the best example I've ever heard is some ungodly number of cops were loss prevention officers before they became cops.
But, and I hate to ever defend cops, but
Right.
a lot of them do. I mean, a lot of those motherfuckers will not sit in the hallway while kids are being.
Right.
That's the craziest thing about this Uvalde thing. They were in the hallway and you could hear gunfire in the room next, right in there. That dude's killing children.
Well, the more interesting
one
part
did
about it
anything?
is there was a kid who ended up dying who was
Oh,
calling
really? Is that
911
true?
while they were in the hallway. Fully automatic weapons, long rifles. They had everything
That's
they
fucked
needed.
up, dude.
And Pete wouldn't let him go in.
That's fucked up.
And
Oof.
the amazing part about this, though, is at some point in time, there's hundreds of cops who have been assembled at this location.
Well, there
from
were
all
what,
the
20 in the hallway. There's like 20.
Yeah.
But again, I'm all for shooting at cops. Don't get me wrong. But those dudes they were fucked up.
Well, this comes to
There's a lot of cops that do run in.
Yeah, this comes to the heart of the problem, and this is the problem with bad cops. It's the good cops who allow the bad cops to continue to be bad cops.
Right.
And at some point in time, someone should have told Pete, "What the fuck are you doing? They're killing our kids." And no one, from everything I've read and everything I've heard, there wasn't one single good cop who you're going to assume out of the numbers, there had to be one or two, who said, "We have to go in there and save these kids."
There were, I think, 23 in the hallway.
There
And
were
that's extraordinary.
hundreds of cops there.
Yeah, but these guys were in the hallway. It's pretty extraordinary. Now, but again, most cops would have done, that was an extraordinarily.
See, that's my question. Would most cops
I think
have
so.
done it?
I'm going
Well,
to,
how did we?
I'm
have
going to
to
say
do it?
for the record, and I believe this, most cops would have. I think and I'm not shitting on the parents, of course, but here's what I've got to say. They're like, give me the gun, I'll go in there. It's like, motherfucker, go in there now.
Right.
There's no, don't pretend like it.
Right.
And again, let's not shit on them, but damn, dude, that was.
But you know what? It's interesting because I know some
Why are we
badass.
talking about Uvalde, man?
I know some badass cops. Some of the legitimate heroes. I was just stunned that there wasn't one decent father, uncle,
Yeah.
coach,
Yeah.
concerned citizen
Yeah.
who says, "Man, I got a gun."
There's a bunch of that premise applies across the board to those people in that hallway. And nobody, not one person said, you know what, man, I'm gonna roll the dice and go try and save the fucking 8-year-olds.
Right.
It's It's
No,
bad.
well,
dude.
when it comes back to this question, now, who did the recruiting, who did the training, who did the retention? Because what you have is a complete and total failure
Oh,
of the system from top to
100.
bottom, and that you could not you couldn't weed in one person who was of character and said, "I got this badge, I've got this gun, I'm going to go shoot that bad motherfucker."
But again, I don't even. It's not a police. It's just a father. If it were there, it would be impossible for me to. I have said I'm going in there. I couldn't live with myself. You couldn't live
Right.
with yourself.
And every time you say that, though, now multiply that by the hundreds of trained officers who are on the scene.
Well, I'm going to limit it to the 21 in the hallway. But it's just. But there was the mom who went and got 2 of them out. And by the way, and don't say that people haven't learned from this, because there was 2 weeks ago. The police were tasing parents who were trying to get into what they thought was a shooting.
Well, we know they're not allowed to use a taser.
All right, let's not.
No, but it is interesting, because what you have
Go
is
cops,
you have a situation here that you this is how you end up with people on Floyd's back killing the man. This is because at some point in time your training is so bad you didn't weed out that you had X number of blatant cowards who want to go on and save these little kids.
There are X number of cops. Now, this is the truth. I did a bunch of police shooting stuff in Kansas City, and I knew some cops, and probably 70% of them, and this is them saying it, 70% are really good cops, and about 30 are just fuck ups. And it was just that, and I believe that. I think that's accurate. I think that's correct. But that Uvalde thing was just
no. I had a case where
how do you do that?
They were prosecuting the wrong guy for murder. And my co-counsel was livid. He said, "How are you going to prove it?" I said, "Oh, I know the detective." He goes, "Who's that?" The guy's name was Jeff Leslie, L.A. Sheriff's Department homicide detective. I said, the co-defendants, he's not going to help. I said, "Oh yeah, he will." And he gets on the stand. I say, "Hey, how you doing, Jeff?" He goes, "Good, Matt. How are you?" I said, "I haven't seen you since we went drinking that one night." And he says, "Yeah, how you been?" I said, "Been good." I said, "You still have that card in your pocket?" And he looks at me and shakes his head, and I go, "Motherfucker." Yeah. I said, "Would you pull it out and read it to the jury?" He pulls it out and it says, "The definition of integrity." And he reads it off. And I turned to him, I said, "Jeff Leslie, did this co-defendant have anything to do with this shooting?" He goes, "Absolutely not."
But you know what's funny? What's ironic, of course? If more people would do that, the police would. I mean, let's not talk about that.
All right, well, let's talk about something else. The whole part about
let's talk
it
about
is,
Donald Trump.
No,
though,
hold on,
right,
because the great part about this is that
how were we segueing?
they
that?
finally
they
fired
fired
Pete
the
Arredondo.
Yeah.
Now, it goes back to the classic question: what do you have to do to get fired as a cop?
There was something else going on there. I mean, you know what I mean? You're watching, you're like, how?
Yeah, he's got pictures of every school board member fucking a cow or something, because you can't justify.
I'm not even sure that would save his job.
He was still getting paid for months, and he never thought about quitting. He's like, no.
He was elected to the. That was such a weird situation though, because again, I think 90% of cops would have went and done something, and I think 90% of people would have done something. That was
just
crazy.
not 90% of them in Uvalde.
Yeah,
something in the water.
It fucking must be, dude. It has to be.
Could you imagine the psychiatric damage, psychological damage to these people?
Dude, you just go kill yourself. If
And
you're in the hallway, you just go kill yourself. I would.
By the time they're done
Let's
doing,
stop talking about Uvalde.
by the time they're done doing the autopsies, they'll be able to tell when these children died at particular times of the day.
It's hard.
And so when these cops arrive, they'll be 15 minutes later and 2 kids will die, 5 kids will die.
But dude, I'm telling you, I think 90% of cops would have went right in there.
Just not in Uvalde.
Right.
Okay.
So you think cops were, all right, well, again,
I cannot, there is no justification in my mind for standing outside while children are being stopped.
That's what happened at Columbine, though.
Well, that was different policing then. They didn't realize you should go in and kill the people.
That was creepy.
Oh,
That was creepy. Speaking of cops going in places, I want to get this Trump thing in there. I'm fucking this thing it's cracking me up. I'm like, did Donald Trump finally fuck himself? I mean, did he finally
I don't know how we can be in so different
planets on this.
I literally find this to be the biggest con by the media ever. It's just the fucking
because they went through what's her face's shit. First of all,
how you,
I think they should have started with her shit. I'd have been like, let's see what she's got in here.
well, you got to at least do a little fake to get it.
No, I wouldn't.
Right?
I just go right into it. Go into it. And I start going through the photo. Where are the pictures?
Well, the whole thing that they kept assuring us that there was a judge who signed off on this warrant. And I'm telling you,
I looked it up.
25 years.
I knew we were going to talk about it. I looked it up.
There is no such thing as a general warrant. You can't just go in and start looking for shit.
See, all right, now what Matthew's saying is he's pissy because he says they went in and looked through what's her faces?
Mrs. Fletcher.
Mrs. Fletcher. Mrs. Fletcher's stuff. And I'm like, well, they do that if they were anyone else, they would look through everything.
Yeah, but we got to have at least some standards when you say if you're not even going to do the bare basic warrant requirements for the president's wife, what were the odds you were going to find something in her underwear drawer?
I don't know, but I think we should look.
Well, here's the thing about it. This is why I think this is a fraud. This dude, you really think Donald? You really think? Wait.
They had 1,000 pages of.
You
They
really
had
think
1,000 separate top secret documents.
Not 1,000, but okay.
700, 700 in the first.
Are you
tranche.
telling me you believe that Donald Trump packed these boxes?
No, but I think they should have patted down Mrs. Trump to make sure.
Well, I think they were attempting to, but what I'm saying is you get a warrant against Donald Trump to search his wife's closet.
Well, the warrant was to search.
Everybody knows he did not pack that shit.
The warrant said to search every. Well, it turns out he went through them. His fingerprints on them. His notes are on them.
Well, his fingerprints and notes should be on him because he was looking at them as acting as the president.
So
what you're literally sitting there doing is like, when's the last time you moved? Did you pack a fucking box?
Yes.
You tell me Donald Trump didn't call up Mr. Mover people and they just...
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, you sound like one of these crazy Trump defenders.
I am no apologist for Trump. I just have zero belief that the federal government can get it right.
Oh, I agree.
Did they not notice this shit missing for a year and a half?
No, they did. There were multiple attempts to get it. That's the crazy part, which is a year, 18 months, and they still hadn't produced it, and you had to go there. If it were anyone else, that's like these January 6 people, there's like 50 of them who've been sentenced to prison, and not one of the Trump people. I'm like, and this is what I keep saying to people, this idea that poor people or middle-class people are celebrating how Trump is this and this and this, and we got to stand up for him. And it's like, no, because he's not going to prison, but all of you guys are. It's this it's this double standard thing. And people they're missing it. And on the search warrant thing, I looked it up. 98% of search warrants all granted. They're like, it was covered because a federal judge, first of all, is a fucking magistrate, which isn't even really a judge. Secondly, they approved 98% of them.
I have literally seen judges sign off on warrants, literally thumbing through them. Right. And they come in court.
They're like, why did you look so long?
They'll come in court and literally say, can we get you to sign a warrant? And the judge says, sure. And they'll flip through it and then sign it. They don't even read it. It's a joke.
I agree.
But at the end of the day, we've come to this position where Trump's brilliance in conning people really can't be underestimated. When you're talking to these people, Michael, there's these poor, goofy fucks who are going to federal prison for years.
This dude just got sentenced to 6 years.
When the guy
says, 6 fucking years.
And I'm going to march with you. And they all went that way and he went this way.
See, if I were them, I would have defended that motherfucker. I would have went to court and said, he said, here's what we're going to do. I meant it and I believed him.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's horrible. And here's the thing is, again, I think it's craziness, but these Trump supporters, I remember, I'll never forget, I was watching Sanders, the crazy left-wing dude.
Yeah, Bernie.
Yeah, and I said, he sounds just like Trump. The thing is the same. It's them appealing to people saying, hey, I'm going to help you. We're going to watch out for you. They say the same thing, but they're just screwing people. Yeah. And so these January 6 people who genuinely think that their country's under assault, and it's just, frankly, a bunch of Caucasian people having great difficulties with the fact that you don't get this stuff anymore, which is a reasonable response for them. And they're being taken advantage of. Now they're going to prison for 5 and 6 years. And this dude isn't going anywhere.
Well, the funny thing about Bernie Sanders in the comparison to Trump is they're roughly the same age. They're all from Ivy League schools. And Bernie Trump is rich. Bernie Trump.
Same thing.
Bernie is rich as fuck.
He's not rich.
He is.
He's worth like no.
He's worth millions and millions. Socialism stops at his door, apparently. The guy's worth millions and millions of dollars, and they're going to look out for the little guy.
It's like Bill Maher says. He says, "I'm a millionaire socialist." It's a good place.
It's certainly not a bad place to be, but again, you go back to this idea that these people are being fed this line of bullshit over and over, and we're going to march with you. And from Trump to Meadows to every single person, not one of them took off to the Capitol.
I agree.
Not one of them.
And what's fucked up though is again, it's back to well, there was a warrant and all that. This double standard for regular people versus rich people. It's horrible. It's fucked up. But it's why this system is so screwed. And again, no one's saying I'm watching. And again, I'm not defending Trump, but this whole shit. Well, it was signed off by a magistrate. Right. Bullshit. Big deal. Yeah. 98% of that, and people believe it. And the media believes it, and the press says they rattle it on over and over. It's a bullshit magistrate who only thing a magistrate's job to do is to sign warrants. Right. There's nothing else. And when the media cites this as this proof that this a validation, right. It's not.
Well,
it's not.
Excuse me. This goes back to this thing we've been saying from the beginning that the fix is literally in unless you occupy very, very, very few positions. If you're a large corporation, you're going to do just fine. If you're incredibly rich, you're going to do just fine. Trump's only problem is the Republicans are going to fuck him. They are lining up to get this cat.
I think Trump's going to fuck him.
Trump has been doing this for his whole life.
Dude, this was an overreach. This was a bad idea. You know what this is? Wait. This is what this equates to. We all had that ugly friend who somehow got a hot chick, right? And it took over his brain.
Present company excluded.
right. And it took over his brain, and he's like, da-da. And like a year into, he goes, "Yeah, I think I'm going to dump her." And you're like, "No, do not dump her. Oh, I'm going to dump her. Yeah, I'm going to dump her," and he dumps her, and you're just like, and then it's horrible. It's like, dude,
this is one of my funniest jokes ever. I call it the Billy Joel syndrome. Billy Joel was fucking Christy Brinkley, and one day he woke up and said, "You know what? I need a new piece of ass."
There's a difference between that. Billy Joel was Billy Joel. Ugly dude dating the hottest chick he's ever dated and then saying, "I think I'm going to get another one." That's the problem.
No, he didn't even think he's anyone. He had fully convinced himself that he could get any woman he wanted. I mean, he is a rock and roll star.
Yes.
So, which gets us to our last point. We want to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about That
was a nice segue.
Well, thank you.
Arcade Fire. We're going to Billy Joel to an AI rapper.
No, we're going to talk about Arcade Fire.
All right.
Very, very popular little band, and they have a lead singer named Win Butler. And Win Butler's doing the rock and roll thing, man.
Look, he's got the thing. He's like, "Come on, please." Look at him. He's like, "Please."
I like the hat. It's the old line that said, "When you're getting ready to walk out of your house, you turn and you look, and you got anything on your head, take it off because it ain't as cool as you think." This dude thought he was killing this.
He is a rock star.
He's a rock and roll star, but now
he's like, "I've fucked 800 chicks more than you have this week."
No, but see,
so my hat works.
That's the problem, is that he's gotten in some trouble because 3 of his fans have indicated that they believe he was guilty of sexual misconduct. He didn't rape them.
Well, he kind of did.
Well, let's talk about this.
I feel offended.
This is where we have come into this new world where people can't speak openly and truthfully. You've got to lie about how sensitive you are. They say they only fucked him because he was a rock and roll star. So he crossed the boundaries.
He's like, right.
And literally, it's the front page of the paper. This is a big deal.
Hard. It's hard to believe that premise would float. But it's floating.
Well, it is.
So what does he say?
He says I've respected the boundaries and I cheated when I was married. Well, one chick got her to have video sex. I don't even know if that counts.
He's gonna have to prove that to me.
Well, she says that it was all consensual, but literally she believes the boundaries were crossed because she was so infatuated with this rock and roll star that it wasn't really consensual.
I love the fact that she doesn't understand it's way worse to be the dumbest fucking human being on the earth and say I was infatuated and that's why I did. You shouldn't go with that. You should just leave it alone. She's like, no, I was that stupid.
But the thing about it is,
I was
she
that stupid.
sincerely means it, and he believes it's wrong because he's issuing press releases trying to explain that he may have stepped over certain boundaries.
He's not issuing a press release saying that. It's his lawyers going, all right, go ahead and say it. He's like, that chick is crazy. Here, look at the video.
Well, the reality is this.
That's what I'm saying. We need to see the video to know for sure.
I don't know if they recorded it.
Well,
but
the
whole point is what we're talking about now is we've got to this point where literally, imagine how few rock and roll stars we're going to have if it becomes a rule that you can't fuck your friends. Why go? It's rock and roll, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
You remember Dave Smith's trick with videos?
No, I don't.
I know a law partner named Dave Smith, greatest guy in the world. And Dave used to talk about how he would sometimes do some divorce cases. And if the chick was really hot, he'd say, okay, ma'am. So actually, let's call him Dave Jones.
Yes,
Dave Jones. And he would say,
probably shouldn't even tell this story.
No, it's a great one, though. What Dave Jones would say, he would look at his client and say, well, ma'am, if there's any videos or anything like their pictures, you need to bring them to me and I'll keep them. That way we could protect him because of attorney-client privilege. And we'll put him in this envelope. And she'd come the next day and she'd come and she'd get to him and go, there it is. And put it in the envelope. Look it. She'd leave and he'd pick up. Right up. It's the greatest.
And the second part was, I'm going to need you to hold my calls
for
30 minutes.
It was the greatest. And he did it and it worked.
Well, but you know what the really, I don't know what it means other than we're just so afraid of our own shadows. When you literally are talking about, is this news that rock and roll stars fuck a lot of chicks? I mean, look at, let's Jay-Z has one of the baddest chicks on earth, and it's not for any other reason than he's a star, right?
Why, he's a billionaire.
Well, before he was a billionaire, he was still getting some pretty nice ass.
Oh, yes.
I mean, Mick Jagger?
Mick Jagger? Dude, I was watching this documentary on him. You just watch it, you're like, damn, you're the greatest guy in the world, man. Except he apparently sucked a little dick, apparently.
Well, he was far ahead of his time. Yes, but
nothing wrong with sucking dick. I just don't.
No, but it is very interesting though, because you have this situation where
I just don't.
I'm not really sure what you have to do in order to get pussy anymore.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, if you can't be a rock and roll star, that's out.
Right. Well,
can't be a movie star and get pussy anymore, right?
Why not?
Well,
Johnny Depp was getting it. I'm not going to listen to that.
Well, I'm just telling you, man. Apparently, it's frowned upon.
I have a friend,
coworker.
I have a friend that plays in a band, and it's greatest. He gets paid like $1,000 a night playing a shitty place. He's like, man, dude, and you know what bothers me is like they'll go on Facebook and they'll show up and just want to fuck you. Right. Because you ever do that? This one I was doing comedy. I'm like, no chicks never showed up and just wanted to fuck me.
I'm offended. I'm supposed to be funny, play music, and I've got to fuck random beautiful
they just
women.
Show up. It's outrageous. Johnny Depp has a new gig, right? Signed some new movie deal.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, he did. And then they did this whole other piece on her as a lawyer again.
Right.
And I'm just like, she's not that hot.
Right.
I mean, it's again, this is what's wrong with the law. That is not a hot lawyer.
Right.
She's okay.
Well, she is okay, but Johnny Depp ain't that good looking either, man. That motherfucker.
But he's rich.
He's rich.
But how about
Johnny Depp?
Well, how about we should have done a whole show on this? How about what's her face bringing in who'd she bring in, the guy who's not Mexican now and they're beating him up for playing Castro?
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh,
Lou Diamond Phillips.
No, who by the way is Filipino.
Yeah,
they're talking about. I'm like, Lou Diamond Phillips is Filipino. He's gotten every Latino role in Hollywood for the last 500 years.
La Bamba.
Oh my God, I'm like,
but isn't that wonderful? How we've gotten, we can't use the casting couch anymore. We can't just bring in any Hispanic who looks Hispanic and call him Mexican. Right. And it turns out we've gotten to the point now where they are literally signing our AI rappers.
Oh yeah. That's a tough one. Oh, dude, that was
Capitol Records cuts ties with AI generated rapper FN Mecca. and he's the gentleman on the right with the
wait. Which one's the AI guy?
And which one's the white guy who said, I'm going to use the N-word and I'm going to write all these lyrics? Which one is
He's like,
which?
I'm going to use the N-word officially. I mean.
Now, it's one of the problems with younger people is that if this doesn't scream Jar Jar Binks to you and someone doesn't say, this has got to be, we have to know this is wrong.
But this is a quintessential white guy decision because there are like 10 white guys in the room. Well, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. It's amazing.
You understand they made this character up. They then signed him to a recording contract, and they're putting out his tracks. They just took him down. He has his tracks out there. So they have this group of people pretending to be a black AI rapper, and then they get a bunch of white guys who then have to voice and write the dialogue.
He does kind of look like a club member, though. So it's kind of an interracial AI.
I really don't care if he's a club member or not.
I will take an AI club member, dude.
I find it remarkable. It's like that movie Tropical Thunder when Robert Downey Jr. was playing
he was fucking hilarious. Dude.
Funny as fuck.
He was hilarious, man. That was great.
We're literally in this is hashtag Me Too. This is, we're gonna treat people with some cultural
respect. But I don't
respect.
care if a white dude does that, man. He's just like a dumb white
They
dude.
made up a black rapper, and then they voiced the black rapper with white guys.
I know, but to me,
it's the new blackface.
But to me, it's fucking fabulous, though, dude. It's like one of those moments of this is why white people are dying. This is why white people are not evolving. There are 10 white guys. Like, I think it's a great idea.
Everyone down the road signed off on this. They literally said they signed him.
What about the chick who had phone sex with the AI guy? She's like, I thought he was a brother, and I only sleep with brothers.
Well, now it's a.
She really did. She's
not even touching that.
I only sleep with brothers.
You don't see the hilariousness that they made up. We can't find. This is the ultimate slap in.
They weren't looking.
This is the ultimate slap in black people's face who think they're woke. You're telling me you can't find a black motherfucking rapper in California or LA or Atlanta?
But
they made up one.
But that's the point is they didn't even look. That's the better story. It's not that we can find. We didn't even look.
The better one.
They're like, no. They're like, that would take like 12 seconds.
Why would we deal with real black people?
Have you ever been to a?
Have you ever sat down with a real black rapper? They want this and they want that, and they're gonna cuss and stuff. We're just gonna make our own black rapper.
Well, I was listening to
signed them.
No, some show, and they're talking about the percentage of gay black rappers. Have you read this? I'm watching this whole thing going,
there's a lot of dick sucking going on in your mind, bro.
No, dude. Apparently I must have. No, but I was watching and it's just a bunch of chicks talking about these guys.
How do you segue from an AI rapper to a gay fucking black rapper after you just talked about sucking dick?
No. Well, I didn't talk sucking dick. I said I don't want to. But I'm just telling you, I was watching the show and there's a bunch of hot chicks and they're all like and the guy said, oh, did you guys? They're like, no, they're all gay. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
No, the number of it's called being on the DL, down low. The increase in the amount of AIDS being transmitted in Hispanic and African American.
That's a bad number.
It's a horrible number. It's one of those
number.
shocking fucking ones. And you sit there and you go like, well, I guess this guy's not going to be, rapper's not gay, and he's not going to get anyone.
Well, how do we know he's not gay? Look at his white dude.
Well, that's not his white dude.
We would just look at him.
Technically, that's not his white dude. He's the white guy.
All right.
See, you see where we got back to now?
Gotcha.
And I'm going to sum this up really quickly.
Right.
You understand what we're talking about now?
I know this is your topic. I didn't think it was that good. I've been trying to buy into it.
In 2022,
I think it's okay.
We have white people who are buying black men and then making them go to work for them.
It's called the NFL. Speaking of that,
Yes,
we have to do this, the Deshaun Watson settlement. They went on, and you have the amazing, what we've said all along, it's just ugliness. Ben Roethlisberger, who 9 years ago had this similar situation. Now, they said that he was being animalistic and stuff like this. Now, admittedly, he did rape the woman.
Right. But
Deshaun Watson ended up with 12 games of suspension.
Isn't it 11 games?
11.
and a $5 million fine that is more than anyone's ever been fined. It's nowhere in the collective.
He's like, I did just sign a contract for $300 million.
It's nowhere in the collective bargaining agreement that they can do it. But again, they've got his entire organization to sign off on it. Oddly enough, these are the same people who signed off on race norming.
Right. True.
So you got the
Which
whole.
they're fixing now. They say they're fixing.
Right. Because they started off race norming in the NFL. They said, we're going to pay black players less because they were dumb to start with. And they're much dumber than white people.
Which again, what I love about that is you got a brother signing off on that
got
one.
the head of the entire NFL.
That dude was just like, man, he's
who
right.
the shit came across his desk. He said, so let me get this straight. We're going to give the black people less because their brains are already fucked up.
He goes like this.
He says, now,
I like where you're going with
he
this.
says, I think we can work with that. And he said it completely okay with race.
All right, come on, dude. We'll run out of time, man.
All right.
We're going to go late.
Ben Roethlisberger, just tell what he did. He said woman walked in the room after he complained about his TV being broke. He tried to grab her by the arm. He pulled his penis out of his pants. I told him it wasn't okay. We don't need to do this. Oh. I went to the first door that happened to be a bathroom. Ben Roethlisberger followed me in and raped her. She had a medical examination where she had lacerations and bruising of the genital area, and he was sentenced to never arrested, never indicted, 4-game suspension.
And that's the one where she went to the police afterwards and said, I was raped. They're like, well, rape. I mean, define rape.
It turns out that the one police officer she spoke to that night had also met with Ben Roethlisberger for what purpose?
Security.
Take a picture and get an autograph.
Here's where we're going. NFL's fucked up.
True.
All right. We will be back. I had COVID. I was going to die.
Legend.
AC's fucked up.
Well, maybe it'll be a better week for you next week.
It probably will be.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.